It was just another summer day, warm but unremarkable, across the northeastern United States on August 14, 2003. The sun rose over Cleveland, Detroit, and Toronto like it had thousands of times before. Air conditioners hummed, office lights flickered on, and cities awakened to the rhythm of modern civilization. But what no one knew was that an invisible war was brewing. Not in the skies, not on the streets, but deep within the veins of the continent. The power grid. By nightfall, over 50 million people would be cast into darkness in what would become the largest power outage in North American history. Phones would die, water would stop flowing, hospitals would struggle, and the illusion of a perfectly stable civilization would collapse with a chilling whisper, not a bang. The 2003 Northeast blackout wasn't caused by a terrorist attack, a storm, or a cyber hack. No, this was a man-made disaster, born from human error, poor coordination, and simple overlooked elements. At the core of the catastrophe, 3 tree branches, a failed computer program, and a series of alarm systems that never rang. The grid, one of the most complex machines humanity has ever built, began to unravel not from sabotage but from within, like an empire eaten alive by its own neglect. The early signs were subtle. In northern Ohio and eastern Michigan, the electric grid was under silent strain. Temperatures were warm but manageable, yet air conditioning demands surged. Several power generators were offline for maintenance, but nothing seemed alarming. Forecasts showed the system in the green. The Midwest Independent System Operator, MISO, which oversaw reliability in the region, believed everything was under control. But at the core of their system, the state estimator software that monitors the grid's health in real time, was a ghost in the machine. It refused to converge on a solution. The data it received made no sense, and instead of shouting that something was wrong, it simply stopped functioning. What came next was a chain reaction of near-silent collapses. A key generator in East Lake, Ohio, strained to its limit, tripped offline at 1 p.m. Voltage levels plummeted across the Cleveland area. Normally, alarms would notify operators of such a critical event, but the First Energy Control Room's alarm system had crashed earlier that day. No beeping, no flashing, no warnings. Operators were flying blind, unknowingly piloting one of the most vital regions of the national grid into disaster. They received phone calls from local power plants reporting unusual voltages, but the data on their screens didn't reflect the danger. Their digital eyes were lying to them. As demand grew, transmission lines carried more current than they could safely handle, and on a hot, still day, with no wind to cool them, those lines sagged. Just after 3 p.m., one of those lines, the Harding-Chamberlain line, drooped into a tree. A momentary short circuit, a relay triggered, and just like that, the line tripped offline. No one noticed. Then another line, Hannah Juniper, sagged into another tree and followed. And Star South Canton, all of these should have been contained incidents, but not on that day. Not when the system was blind, deaf, and already staggering. By 4 p.m., the last major line feeding electricity into the Cleveland area, the Sammy Star line, reached 120% of its rated load. And then, just like the others, it tripped offline. In that moment, a major American city became an island, severed from the national grid. The electricity had nowhere to go. The current surged wildly in reverse through Michigan, Pennsylvania, and New York, tripping protective relays all along the way. Like falling dominoes, over 500 power plants began to shut down, some automatically, others as a consequence of voltage collapse. In less than 3 minutes, a local voltage issue in Ohio had become a full-scale grid failure across 8 U.S. states and Ontario, Canada. Skyscrapers in Manhattan fell dark. Water systems in Detroit lost pressure. Toronto's subways screeched to a halt. Streetlights blinked out. Cell towers went silent. People were stranded in elevators, tunnels, and subway cars. Emergency services were overwhelmed. In some cities, chaos spread. And when the sun finally set, it was replaced not by artificial light, but by a cold, heavy void. a total blackout. The human cost was staggering. Nearly 100 people lost their lives, not from direct danger, but from lack of access to emergency medical services, heat exposure, accidents, and preventable circumstances. Financially, the blackout cost over $10 billion. Businesses lost entire days of operation. Hospitals operated on backup generators. Entire transportation systems shut down. It wasn't just a blackout, it was a collapse of trust in modern infrastructure. Investigators would later piece together what happened, how software glitches, missing alarms, and overgrown trees created one of the greatest failures in modern American history. A 240-page bilateral report between the US and Canada identified 46 failures and recommendations. Many changes were implemented in the years following, and yet, the lesson remains painfully clear. Our most advanced systems are often held together by very thin threads. Today's power grid is more connected, more complex, and more fragile than ever. Climate change, renewable integration, rising demand, and cyber threats pose growing risks. And while the 2003 blackout may seem like a relic of the past, it's a haunting reminder that we are only ever a few oversights away from darkness. So the next time you flip a switch and expect light, remember, it only takes one tree, one missed alarm, one broken line to turn the lights off for millions. If this story shocked you, imagine how many more invisible disasters are hiding in plain sight. Hit that subscribe button for more high-stakes stories that reveal how fragile our modern world really is.